You can't believe you came this far. You never thought that you'd evolve to who you are. You packed your dreams inside the backseat of your car. You told yourself that you won't take it no more. To anyone who's ever felt they don't belong, to all the outsiders, this is your song. You don't know how to fight them back, but they won't hold you down for long. Don't let them push you out and pull you under. Somebody says you gotta go and get yourself together. Somebody said, but they don't know how deep it goes. Just come as you are. Just be yourself and let it all hang out. You love your flaws more than somebody else. Trust in yourself and never feed the doubt. Come as you are, don't come as you are. Don't let them push you out and pull you under. Somebody said you gotta go and get yourself together. Somebody said, but they don't know how deep it goes. Just come as you are. Push you out and pull you under. Somebody says you gotta go and get yourself together. Somebody said, but they don't know how deep it goes. Just come as you are. And push you out and pull you under. Somebody said you gotta go and get yourself together. Somebody said, but they don't know how deep it goes. Just come as you are. Push you out and pull you under. Somebody says you gotta go and get yourself together. Somebody said, but they don't know how deep it goes. Just come as you are. Dancing through my anxiety, I wish you'd see how it feels inside.
All right.
All right, so I'm recording.
I have a cat joining me. You may hear her. She's so cute.
I suffered for many, many years, not really knowing what was causing me all these problems and all this pain.
I thought mental health was something that was just going to go away eventually.
You just kind of grit your teeth and you don't bother anybody else with it.
I was so embarrassed about feeling depressed and feeling anxious.
The guy's supposed to be tough, right? That's the whole stigma with mental health in general. Like, guys shouldn't be emotional or express their feelings.
People are so used to hiding their symptoms.
I would kind of just push down my emotions and be like, oh no, everything's fine. I don't have to deal with anything.
I'm 25 years old and I'm over here thinking that it's too late and there's no time.
It was scary as heck to ask for help. I had straight A's in high school. I tried to be funny. I tried to be confident. I tried to be
I've been
nice.
so good at being like the cookie cutter pretty girl for mental health advocacy, and it's like it's not pretty all the time.
I had no idea that what I was experiencing was something that I could have gotten help for.
I am so excited to be part of this conversation, to see other young people joining in as we destigmatize mental illness as well as conversation about mental health in general.
I'm still working on it, but I've gotten to a point where I realized I need to make a shift.
What is a shift? A move, especially over a small distance. It's a slight change in position, direction, or tendency. It can be a small step, and it can have a big impact. What does it look like, or sound like, or feel like for you to start a shift?
Hello, shifters.
Hey, shifters.
What's up, LA?
Hey, Los Angeles.
Let's rally.
Let's rally.
What if it starts with a conversation?
Wow. Hello, LA.
What's up, Los Angeles? We're here.
It is so wonderful to be here with you wherever you are, from wherever you are tuning in from. I'm right here. I'm Adrienne Finch.
Yes, you are. And I'm Devin Werkheiser. We're here.
Yes, we are. And we are here to welcome you to the very first of its kind, the Shift Wellness Rally Los Angeles, presented by NAMI Westside, LA.
And the question is, why are we here on your screens like this?
Well, we're here because there's really something to talk about. So let's get to it, right? We've seen the headlines, we've seen the numbers, the breakdowns in mental health, our mental well-being.
And specifically how young people are being affected.
Yes. And you know that there's no time like now to have a conversation with ourselves and with each other. But before we do, we want to let you guys know that today we are going to be talking about mental health, and some of it can feel pretty serious. We're not mental health experts, but we do want to make sure that you guys have resources on hand throughout this event to take on these types of conversations.
Yeah, so we're going to put some of these numbers on the screen right now. If at any point during the rally you experience emotional distress, you can text HELLO to 741-741 to connect with a live crisis text line counselor 24/7, or call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-8255. Deaf and hard of hearing can use text telephone at 800-799-4889.
Yeah, so take a picture right now, take a screen grab. It's always good to have someone to talk to. And we're about to hear from some incredible, just really awesome and courageous young people, plus also experts and mental health advocates who are sharing from their own experiences. What has it looked like to start the conversation?
Yes, what are the conversations that are needed to bring well-being into a space that lately has been a little less than? That's what we're here to do today, to normalize this. You know, how do we start these conversations? What does mental well-being even look like? And speaking of which, throughout the rally, one of the things we invite you to do is share your voice, add it to this conversation right here. We're going to have poll questions coming up throughout this hour, and we want you to answer them. We want your feedback. We want to discuss it and see what our peers are saying as well. So please participate by voting on our website. When you see the little surveys change right below your screen, if you're joining from social, you want to go to the shiftwellnessrally.com/vote to join on your phone. So it's the shiftwellnessrally.com/vote to join on your phone. What kind of questions are we going to be asking, Adrienne?
Yeah, great question. And actually, there's one on the screen right now, as you can see. So definitely go over and vote. But we're going to be talking about and answering the kinds of questions that sometimes are easy to avoid, right? About mental health and our well-being, things that sometimes we shy away from, depending on whether you even feel comfortable, you know, asking for support or help when you feel you might need it. So that's actually kind of leads us to our very first question is, have you ever asked for mental health support? Yes or no? Go ahead and vote, you guys, online. We want to hear from you. So far, we're seeing a lot of yes.
A lot of yeses.
A lot of yes.
Which is great.
Yeah, we like to see that. A couple of no's, and don't worry, we have so much in store for you today, so many resources. I know for me, personally, I consider myself very lucky. I come from two psychologist parents, which, as you can imagine, you know, was incredible to have that type of support where I could tackle the issues I faced, my anxiety, my ADHD, you know, cyberbullying. I had kind of that support system right there built in. And, you know, as I got older, I realized not everyone has that, and not everyone feels comfortable being able to talk about those kinds of things. So I do feel very lucky. I have asked for mental health support. What about you, Devin?
Yeah, I mean, life is a lot, right? And you know, I played someone giving survival advice for middle school, but as we grow up, life just gets so much more complex. And even I found, like, even with great tools for mental health, it's still hard to pin it down. It's still hard to know when to ask for help, how to ask, like, how much do I take on myself? How much do I open up to others? It's it's hard to navigate. And that's what we're here to talk about.
It is.
The ways it can be tricky and the ways to kind of smooth that out. So yeah, having the ability to ask for what you need and then having the ability to get it are kind of the the two things that are sometimes disjointed. But it's really what can make a difference. So I want to ask you guys, maybe if you haven't asked for help, have you still felt, I'm asking you guys at home, have you still felt that you needed it? Have you ever felt like, I can't handle my mind on my own? Have you ever felt you needed help from outside of you?
Yeah, and we saw a lot of you did say, no, you haven't asked for help. So yeah, have you felt you needed it? And I personally have needed it, and I have needed help, and I have asked for help. But yeah, we want to see, because like Devin said, it's really important to not only be able to identify, hey, I think I need some help, but also actually asking for it. It's tough. So have you guys ever felt you needed help? Go ahead.
Yeah, we just put that question up on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Some yeses coming in. I've definitely asked at different times, and it's different who I ask. There have been times where I needed to go to a professional therapist, and that was the way I asked for help. Sometimes it was just reaching out to a family member and saying like, hey, I'm struggling right now, and I just need someone.
I know, me too. That's a good point. It depends for me as well, kind of who, because I think I'm kind of an open book. Everyone sort of knows about my issues and things I'm struggling. I talk a lot, but at the same time, I think sometimes I haven't been able to identify the differences, when I really actually need like more specialized help or a different kind of help. And I feel like, it's been kind of hard to navigate that. And it looks like from you guys, a lot of people see this is why, the shift and everything, mental health awareness is just so important. Like, look at how many of you have said, yes, you have felt like you've needed help. 93%. I mean, that's major. Mental health affects everyone.
Yeah. And recognizing when you need help. I think we grow up becoming self-reliant. We say like, no, I'll handle it. Mm-hmm. I can do this. I can do this myself. I don't need help. I got it. And it's good to recognize at a certain point when like it's time to open it up and ask.
Definitely.
So thank you for answering in our polls. Remember, these are going to be coming up throughout the rally today. Go to the shiftwellnessrally.com/vote to join and be able to add your answers to this conversation. This is an ongoing conversation we're having with you. So if you felt like you could use some extra support, you are definitely not alone in that. And we're glad you're here because we know of at least one place to start here in Los Angeles.
Hey shifters, I'm super excited to be here and I really can't wait to hear your point of view. Let's start the conversation, Los Angeles.
Hi everyone, I'm Erin Ryan, Executive Director of NAMI Westside Los Angeles. We're thrilled to welcome you here today to the Shift Wellness Rally LA, presented by NAMI Westside LA, NAMI California, and the Mental Health Services Oversight and Accountability Commission. NAMI Westside LA offers free education programs along with support, guidance, and hope for the growing number of Angelinos living with mental health conditions. The average delay between the onset of symptoms and intervention is 8 to 10 years. Now, can you imagine if you have the symptoms of a broken arm, would you wait 8 to 10 years to receive help?
Hey everyone, my name is Brooke Johnson.
I'm Juan Acosta.
My name is Britt Turpak. I'm a mental health advocate, motivational speaker, and representative of NAMI Westside Los Angeles.
I am a mental health and LGBTQ+ advocate and a New York Times best-selling author for a book co-authored with Lady Gaga. I also currently serve as one of the regional managers for the CalHope Warm Line.
I became a mental health advocate because I've been dealing with mental health since I was 13. As I was getting older, no one really had the resources or the know-how to truly give me any coping mechanisms for what I was dealing with. So I truly struggled for most of my teenage life and mostly through college.
When I was in high school and even transitioning into college, I had feelings associated with anxiety and depression, racing thoughts to the point that they would debilitate me from going about my day or completing adult responsibilities or schoolwork, feelings of hopelessness associated with depression. But I didn't have the education or awareness to know what a mental health condition would look like.
I didn't know where to go or who to go to, and I didn't want to share what I was feeling with my parents because I didn't want to be another stressor.
The truth is that we're all susceptible. We're all under a lot of stress right now. Jesse Zookman here, mental health patient, advocate, suicide survivor, and now I am training to be a mental health care professional myself. We were already in the middle of a mental health epidemic, a mental illness epidemic. And now we have COVID on top of an epidemic. We've got double epidemics. And then we have the stigma that tells us, don't talk about mental illness. We can't not talk about it anymore. This is a social justice issue. Talking about it will save lives, and now is the time.
What stressors are currently impacting students' mental and emotional health?
What's the biggest stressor? Like, it is school, it is family, it is, friend issues and all those kind of things, but it's now like worsened through being stuck at home.
These social injustices, the police killing, a lot of race-based trauma, the impact of COVID on mostly our communities of color, for families who have been drastically impacted financially, worrying about food on the table. I think that's been a reality for some of our students.
I also feel like a lot of students are struggling because they don't know that the school gives like free therapy, or they don't know that they have the resources. For me personally, like, my anxiety increased a lot, and a lot of people have worries about going back, but they don't know that there's these free resources that they can find.
There were already some concerns about youth mental health because of schools being closed. And so there was like a big kind of rallying cry of like, open the schools immediately because it's affecting all of our kids' mental health. A rushed reopening is also very stressful.
I guess the age stigma was something that I experienced. I started to try to get help for anxiety and depression when I was in 7th grade, and it was something that I knew that I needed, but the people around me were not listening. They thought I was too young to having these problems, to being knowledgeable that I needed help. It was not able to get help until I was in high school.
People assume that they're being dramatic, or people express they're struggling in different ways. Mental health is just stereotyped into a certain box of what it looks like, but there's just such a wide variety. It's different for everybody.
Mental health looks like this. I look completely fine, but you have no idea that I might or might not have had a panic attack this morning. To constantly be putting on a mask every day and not staying true to what you're feeling or what's going on with your body, it's an issue that people feel like they're scared to even show that side of themselves.
At first, I was uncomfortable and scared to share it. We live in an age of technology where, everything has to be so perfect.
Everybody just believes that social media is the way of showing that you are succeeding or that you have to look a certain way. I think it's made this a stigma of having to be perfect, when at the end of the day, it's harming our mentals because we're not accepting ourselves.
Everyone's journey is different with their mental health. I think the feelings of being alone, being scared, feeling lonely, not knowing what the future holds, feeling desperate, feeling not good enough, feeling overwhelmed. I think all those feelings are commonalities between everyone.
Hey everyone, my name is Kelly Davis with Mental Health America, here to share a quick tip about dealing with stress. So if you can imagine, this is your brain. This part right here, your prefrontal cortex, also known as your rational or thinking brain, helps you make decisions about what to do and what to do next. This part right here, if you can imagine, is your amygdala. And your amygdala is what in your brain releases stress hormones when you're freaked out. So when something stressful happens, your brain goes like this, and you flip your lid. What happens next is that if you can just remember that this part of your brain is trying to help you out by making you more alert to what's going on, you can slowly take enough breaths to where you can bring your thinking brain back home with you.
What's up, guys? My name is Ryder Davis. I'm a 21-year-old sophomore, and I'm also a mental health advocate with NAMI West Los Angeles. I'm a presenter as part of the Ending the Silence program.
And my name is Tim Davis. I am the father of the young man that I am speaking to this morning, and the program director for NAMI Westside Los Angeles.
I got an opportunity going into middle and high schools and talking about my lived experience. I realized that I could help even a little bit with ending that stigma, ending the silence around mental health conditions.
We want to help young people in our community learn how to have conversations around mental health so they can support themselves and their friends and their family members if and when mental health conditions surface in their lives.
What inspired me to become a mental health advocate was my own diagnosis of bipolar disorder. When I was diagnosed, I felt stigma from all around me and also from within myself, and I didn't like that.
Every time you tell a classroom of students that you live with bipolar disorder and you talk about all the things you do to manage and to live well with it, you're a hero to me, but you're a hero to these kids, and you are making it easier for people to talk about having bipolar disorder without feeling stigma.
Every time I present, it really helps me come to terms with my story, and it's also helped me become a much better speaker. So it's been an amazing process, particularly before coronavirus. My dad and I would go out to these schools together, and it was a really great bonding experience.
Being the father of someone with bipolar disorder and tracking that part of my mental health journey of when I had awareness that my son had bipolar disorder and what that meant, and what has become worth it to me is really connecting with you so that you know you're not alone in this journey.
NAMI has totally strengthened our relationship, I think.
As your father, I've seen kind of times in your journey in the last 3 years where you hit a little bit of a wall, maybe get a little stuck. And that happens to all of us.
It does happen, not just people with mental health conditions, but also everyone. But I feel like those, at least in my own experience, those with mental health conditions, when you get stuck, it can be a little harder to get out of that situation. And for me, stuck means isolating, not doing the things that I usually want to do. Eating badly also is a definite marker of being stuck. Generally, just bad habits tend to rise up. And I feel like the best way to get unstuck is by talking to someone whose opinion you value and who you can sort of lean on.
The first time I asked a friend, I kind of asked them what they went through. So I was going through a lot of anxiety, and my symptoms with anxiety is I don't really eat much. I have like an anxious stomach, like butterflies in my stomach that make me kind of feel sick most of the day. But the fact that I acknowledged it after 6 years of feeling this every day of my life validated myself.
Just being able to own where you are and accept where you are, it makes a big difference. In the past, I would just blame myself for feeling bad, and then I would get stuck in that emotion. I would get stuck in the experience. I would try to will myself out of depression, which would make the depression stuck. So I found that doesn't work. And the more that I can accept, the more that I can be with, even the bad days, just the more progress I make and just the easier life is.
Wow. We just heard from just so much there from some really courageous starters of conversation. You guys are seriously my heroes. And what young people are dealing with overall, I mean, there's a lot going on. So what did you guys say your biggest stressors are between?
Yeah, let's see that poll.
School, family, friends, COVID, social media, safety. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Family, safety.
Friends, family, safety, and COVID. That's the state of our year, right?
Yeah, I can relate. I think that definitely added a big stressor this past year.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's so much normally that can be a stressor for your mental health previous to a year of a pandemic that changed everything for us.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that these are the answers. We see school, family, friends,
social media,
COVID, social media.
Yeah, I definitely think social media, I feel that sometimes the pressure of, what we say there, or should we say things there, or am I weird if I do say things there, or how can I, talk about what I'm going through. I see social media being a big stressor for me.
Yeah, well, and how often am I on it, and what am I seeing on it, and is everyone living these lives that I'm seeing on there, and is my life less than that? Like all of this is what we're dealing with. And I think what's beautiful about what we just saw shared was we all need this reminder that we're not alone in feeling overwhelmed. We're not alone in feeling stressed by this. We're not alone in being triggered by this. This is something we're facing as a generation, as a nation, as a people. Like, this is all of us. So when you get stuck in an emotion or a space, one of the questions we asked was, do you feel comfortable asking for help? And let's see the answers to that poll.
Yeah. This one is definitely a tricky one. I think, as we're seeing now, at least majority is saying no, they don't feel comfortable. Some people saying yes. And I think, that's majorly telling.
Yeah, that's so telling.
Of just we need to be able to feel comfortable to ask for help. And that's what we're here to help you guys do as well. And go ahead.
I just want to say, like, it's also okay if it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's not 100% comfortable feeling this way. It's not 100% comfortable reaching out to someone else and being vulnerable and saying, like, I need help. Like, I'm not figuring this out on my own and I'm not doing well. It makes sense that it's a little uncomfortable, but you want to make sure you're able to when you need to.
Exactly. If you're not comfortable, the question is then where do we even start, right? And how do we talk about it? Because that's kind of that next step.
Exactly. So let's start at the start. How do we express ourselves enough to find out what we might need? It starts with language.
So all those feels you tend to feel? Well, being able to put words, actual vivid language to it, can be a big part of reducing the negative impact on our mental state. For example, if you're feeling sad, it actually helps us manage this emotion when we can be specific about the kind of sadness that we're feeling. Disappointment, grief, empty, isolated, powerless. Coming up with words for our emotions isn't always easy, especially when we're feeling out of it to begin with. This online tool can help us find words we didn't even know we were looking for. All the Feels is an awesome free app that helps you identify and track your emotions. It helps you name your feelings with expressive words that you can relate to, creating a catalog of your emotional vocabulary. You can use it as a tool to really see where you're at, and you can share your weekly or monthly graphs with your therapist. Who has time to remember how you were feeling last Tuesday? All the Feels is a really simple way to put the right words to what we're feeling so that we can better manage how we're feeling.
So people ask me all the time, what are some things I can do for my mental health? And I am here to tell you that self-care really works. Self-care is not just bubble baths, sunshine, and rainbows. Although sunshine really can make an impact. Things you can do on your own. Number one, get some sleep. Your body needs sleep. Your brain needs sleep to make those brain chemicals. We process emotions in our dreams. So making sleep an absolute priority is a big deal. It can take a little bit of discipline. I struggle with it too. The other thing that can give you brain chemicals that you need to maintain mental health is a nutritious diet. Your body needs the basic building blocks to make the dopamine, to make all of the things that make you feel good, that make you feel in general. Less things that come in bags, less things that come in boxes. You just do your best. If you can cook, cooking can be a great thing. If you can get some help cooking, get some help cooking. It all makes a difference. It all adds up. Being social. Being social is so important to our emotional and mental health. Our evolution is not like a solo creature. We have always existed in tribes. We have always existed in groups. And when human beings aren't in a group, that sends a signal to our whole nervous system that we're in danger. So in order for us to feel safe, supported, for us to feel like we can let our guard down, which is so important to mental health, healing, and emotional healing, and healing trauma, is finding that community. That maybe is a spiritual community, maybe it's your synagogue, maybe it's your church, maybe it's your mosque, maybe it's a sports group. But having that camaraderie, having that support, it's so crucial to maintaining your mental health.
Hey, my name is Nico Craig. I'm a DJ and producer. I am a transgender man. I have much experience in the music industry, and navigating through that as a black, queer, trans man can be something very challenging. It can just require a lot of energy. Some of the things I do to maintain my mental health as a creative, as a musician, and just as a human, and as Nico. I read, whether it be books about DJing, about trans resources and trans advocacy. I cry. That is another thing I do. Projecting, releasing that is very healthy. I drink lots of water. I try to drink water. Every time I am experiencing something, it's a good way to listen to and respond to your nervous system.
Hi, I'm Brenda Soraya Zuniga. I'm a comedian, I'm a mindfulness coach, mental health motivational keynote speaker, singer, dancer, pianist, and I have ADHD. You know, the works. So one of my favorite positive coping techniques that I love to share with others, and I do this every single day, it's called self-compassion hug. I love just giving myself a nice snug hug. I like to put my hands up here on my shoulders. They may look silly, they may look weird. You're probably like, what is she doing? But trust me, it works, and I'll explain why. This activates the mammalian care system. So this takes us back to when we were first born and being held. The message that we're sending to our brain is that we are safe and we are comforted. And our brain doesn't know the difference, it just knows we are being held. When we hug ourselves, we're telling ourselves, hey, we are allowing ourselves in our personal space. You are calm, you are safe, and this is a wonderful stress reducing, positive technique that's easy. It's a great way to ground yourself, a great way to be there for yourself, a great way to soothe. It's wonderful, and it's easy. Now you know how to do it. Good job.
When our emotions spin out of control, our minds and bodies can feel like they're not our own. We might know we need help, but for what exactly? Mental Health America has developed a screening tool that can help you figure out what you're dealing with. So when your trusted adult or your doctor or your therapist asks what's wrong, you don't have to say, I don't know. Understanding what's going on with your mental health is the first step in getting the support you need ASAP.
My name is Nikki Lynette. At this point in your life, I'm sure you've heard people say it's okay to not be okay. And that's true. When I was suicidal, hearing that statement helped me realize that I didn't need to beat myself up for feeling bad. But the thing people don't tell you is there is a life after not okay. You know that, right? Like you really can have a life where you have your mental health issues under control. And yeah, it might suck to feel depressed or feel anxious or feel helpless sometimes. But it ain't nothing to feel shame about. Having depression is literally more common than having diabetes or asthma. Do you think it's okay to judge folks for having that? No? Then why judge yourself for being depressed? And think about it. What if our traits that we are the most uncomfortable with actually contribute to who we are? What if they make us a little more sensitive and humble and compassionate than others? I tell people all the time, you don't get to separate out the parts of me you don't like. You take all of me or you get none of me. Accepting myself is what helped me get my control of my life back after being diagnosed with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. If you ever feel like you need a little help, go get it. Don't feel shame. Ain't nothing wrong with having mental health needs. Mental health is just as important as physical health. So get help if you need it. I promise it's okay. Everybody want to be cute and look great on the outside. But y'all, you deserve to be great on the inside too.
Becoming a mother really motivated me to get involved with the mental health conversation. And I really wanted to change that for my 2 daughters and the next generation, to really shift the conversation and to let them know that it's okay to talk about your mental health. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to help a friend. It's okay to have these difficult conversations because you're not alone.
I know that I'm privileged to be surrounded. A lot of my friends are really educated about mental health or really passionate about the issue, but that's really because students are in a classroom setting, and that kind of shyness and secrecy comes from oftentimes feeling like they have to hide it from their own families.
My parents don't really understand what that is. Like, I have to explain it to them. It's kind of seen as something that's not really real or something that's not as important. But personally for me, ever since I've learned to prioritize my mental health, and ever since I've advocated for that, I've seen that I'm a lot more happier, and I'm still I'm the happiest I've been right now.
One of those big barriers is definitely finding a way to reach families across cultural differences and language differences.
I believe that the system has oftentimes operated on a one-size-fits-all. I believe we need people who represent us, who look like us, and who might have some of that shared lived experience to be a part and inform the system.
I became unstuck when I realized that we all have needs. Mental health is universal, and we all deserve to experience wellness. So how can we put a lot less blame on vulnerable communities, and how can we put more accountability on the systems around us to better listen to our needs, work with us to meet our needs, and support us?
I wanted to get involved in mental health because when I was 13 years old, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And after surviving a series of suicide attempts, I turned to writing. When I was writing letters as my way of healing, I realized that I was being so kind and empathetic to people I'd never even met. And so I wanted to see if what helped me could help others as well. Our world's first Youth for Youth mental health guidebook, which we published in November of 2019, written entirely by 14 to 21-year-olds, has input from people of over 50 countries and is reviewed by medical and industry professionals. What I'm so proud of is that it really emphasizes a deep dive into the intersectional parts of mental health as well, how our different backgrounds and identities can shape us as we move forward in our various healing journeys.
Looking to connect to a community after the rally? Feeling connected is so important to our emotional well-being. And even if you're not venturing out as much, there are some really awesome online communities to lean into, like #HalfTheStory, a community encouraging healthy, whole story sharing to break the standard social media narrative of all perfect all the time that so poorly impacts mental health. The #WeWereHere project is recording and preserving the teen perspectives on the current state of the world, including how COVID-19 has affected you. And #SameHereGlobal, because everyone has mental health, everywhere. Here you can share stories, find tools and resources, and locate experts to connect with from around the world. Look for your community. No matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, you don't have to go through it alone.
I know that having a good support structure and definitely a very, very well-trusted adult is extremely important. It was extremely important for me.
I grew up in a family where mental health advocacy was strong. I could talk to my parents about it. I could talk to my siblings. I could talk to cousins. I could talk to uncles, aunts.
I think a trusted adult is someone that you can trust, but I think that it's very interesting to be able to talk to them at ease and to not feel like you have pressure on you or like you have to say something to please them. It's having that safe person, that safe space, that safe haven almost.
So that might be someone at your school, that might be your counselor, that might be your best friend who then asks their parents to help you. I've had to truly work on my support team, and that also doesn't stay the same because someone who was supportive a year ago maybe not be supportive of me now.
I've never ever doubted that I can trust my parents, and also my grandpa, my grandfather. He definitely deserves a shout out and a call from me.
It's really about listening a lot of the time, and how that is an action. Sometimes people think listening is not an action. But it is.
I think friends make a huge difference. When you find the right friends, it can really be a life changer.
The two people who really made a huge difference in my life went to my counselor to say, Ryder needs help, he's struggling, and maybe even saved my life. So thank you to them. They'll never see this, but thank you to them.
One of the topics that we talk about in our Ending the Silence presentations is suicide. And I talk about it personally in my story. And typically this is the first time that a lot of students have heard suicide talked about so candidly, and the first time that they've really been able to see the warning signs of suicide and what they can do if they see it in a friend, or what they can do if they're experiencing it themselves. I know for me, when I was experiencing suicidal thoughts as a symptom of my depression, I felt so alone, and I felt like that I was this burden and that no one would understand. And one of my close friends asked the question of if I was considering suicide. And that's the question that we actually tell the students that you need to ask. That is a really important question, and it can be a really scary question. And she helped me reach out to the counseling center at my school. So she was able to help get me to a resource that at the time I really wasn't feeling up to finding and getting myself.
We have a lot of families, who maybe wouldn't want their child to be in therapy.
The number one question that was asked in that was, can I do this without my parents' permission? Is there a way for me to get this help without bringing it to my parents? Am I able to do it?
For us in the hospital, unfortunately, by the time the patient gets into the hospital, they're already at their worst. Even at that, family members are still in denial of, that this is happening to their family.
Depending on the age, until you're 18, right? Like, you're not even adult, so you're relying heavily on your parents. So that's where it's kind of tough. The response by my parents, it ingrained in me to never open up about those feelings or share them or talk about them when you'd feel depressed or down. And so ever since then, I never quite knew how to talk about it or open up about it. I traveled to 30 countries in 30 days, ending on was to raise awareness about children's mental health. And it was through that experience that I discovered that this was going to be a lifelong pursuit to have an impact in the mental health space, specifically children's mental health. I feel like we can kind of resolve a lot of global issues, right? If people's mental health were to be taken care of at a young age.
Sometimes when we're at our lowest is when life chooses to challenge us the most. And if you live with depression or bipolar, well, those challenges can be isolating and sometimes feel never ending. With our new podcast, I'm Living Proof, a letter to my younger self, you may discover that you're not alone. Join us as we listen to young adults living with depression or bipolar detail their first brush with a mood disorder and a letter written and read to their younger selves. In each letter, we explore their journey, learn how they face the challenges of living with a mood disorder, and find out what makes them living proof.
I had a very, very difficult time telling my parents that I'm gay, but I started going to therapy, and my therapist told me to write them a letter. She told me to tell them all the things that I was too afraid to tell them in person. And it opened up the conversation between my parents and myself to really talk about what was going on. Ever since then, I have been closer to my parents than I ever have been before.
And hey, if you need someone to talk to, check out this list of NAMI warm lines. You've heard of hotlines. They're typically for when you're in crisis. Warm lines are for times when you just need someone to talk to. The warm lines on NAMI's list are free and confidential. They're staffed by peer counselors who have their own lived experiences around mental health conditions themselves, so not trained therapists. Mental health care can be expensive, but there are places to look to find free or low-cost services and support. NAMI Westside LA has a full list of mental health resources in Los Angeles. The Social Work License Map has a list of 60 mental health resources that you can access anywhere in the US. And add this to your list. You can call 211 no matter where you are. 211 is a 24/7 free and confidential service supported by the United Way that helps match people with resources like food, shelter, and mental health services. Look for more resources on our website, www.shifttheshow.com.
Wow, those are some powerful conversations and a continuing conversation we're having with each other. Remember to go to the shiftwellnessrally.com/vote to answer these polls and this conversation we're opening up. What gets in the way is different for everyone. We asked the question, what stops you from asking for help? Finances coming in as the biggest reason. And I get that. That has been a barrier for me, seeking therapy before or stopping therapy because of the financial burden it places on me when I didn't have any money. So I understand that.
I'm also seeing some trust in the system. And I think that's definitely what I hear the most from my peers and my friends. Fortunately, since my parents are psychologists and I know the work that they do, I feel like I trust the system. But I understand that, you know, even if you do have insurance and you do go start looking for a therapist, it can be hard. It's you know, it's like dating. You have to find the right match. And, you know, there are so many resources out there. But I understand people thinking that, you know, this will never work for me. Maybe they go to one person and they're like, this isn't working. And then another thing that does come up, as we've talked about before, is, you know, if you are asking for help, are you able to get the help that you need? So you guys, when we ask, have you gotten help when you've asked for it?
100% of us answered. Oh, there we go. Okay, now it's shifted. 100% answering at times, which was my answer, is like, sometimes I've gotten the help I've needed, but I don't know if you've had the experience, Adrian, I have, of going to a therapist or asking a friend or family member for some support with something and it not really doing what I needed it to do, it not landing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think when you're in that point too, where you are struggling, that's the last thing you want, right? To be like, oh, like I actually put myself out there. I actually asked for help. And now I feel like this isn't working. And, you know, it shows with the answers with that. Yeah, sometimes. And hey, sometimes is better than never, but you know, we want to get to the always.
Yeah.
And going back to
that's a lot of the resources we're sharing. And that's what NAMI is doing is we have to realize there are resources that if finances are getting in the way, there are places you can go to get help. And you know, whatever's in the way, there are places, there are resources for mental health support. And that's what,
and I can only hope there will just be more and more and more coming, you know, in the future too.
Exactly.
Hopefully we're starting this shift right now. And speaking of kind of those tools and resources, which tools are you guys using to manage? You answered that question. We got a lot of trusted adult and friend. That's awesome to hear. Self-tips, peer groups.
What are your major self-care tools for your mental health, Adrian?
Yeah, I think for me, especially this last year, what it really showed me is that I need to slow down. I think when I was forced to slow down and pause and just kind of be in the moment and not thinking so hard about the future and kind of letting myself relax and not be overwhelmed with work all the time, that's when I felt the most at peace. So it's almost, you know, the silver lining with COVID and quarantine was realizing that my method of self-care, I think, is, you know, having some time to myself where I just slow down and just, you know, like whether that means relaxing and watching movies one night and, you know, doing my work tomorrow, or whatever that is, I think for me, that's the best.
Yeah, taking that time with yourself. One of the biggest things I've learned in the last few years about like foundational support for my mental health has been exercise. I see right now we have 18% answering exercise.
That's a great
It's crazy how much our physical health is influencing our mental health as well. So that's just like foundational. That's just maintenance.
No, that's a great point. And even just a little bit, we were talking earlier, like 5 minutes a day, if you do some jumping jacks, get that blood pumping. I definitely agree with you, Devin. Exercise has made a huge difference as well.
Yeah. And then I love that so many people have, and I guess I agree, trusted adults and trusted friends, trusted people in your life, because that makes it okay to talk to them about maybe these things you're holding in or these things you're struggling with.
Yeah, feeling that's someone that's awesome. Good to hear.
Yeah. So thank you guys for continuing this conversation with us. What works for one of us can be really different for another, which it helps to be mindful of.
Yes.
I like to go on walks, anything, meditation, yoga, tai chi, as well as reading. I love to write, so I love to journal. Journaling allows for me to just be in the present. This is my journal. It has an It Gets Better sticker on it. Shout out to the It Gets Better project. This is my form of projecting. I also meditate, which is like a no-brainer, no pun intended. Wellness requires stillness. I feel like stillness is really important because when you practice stillness, you're able to become aware of where your pain is, and that can help you realize where you need to do work in so that you can heal and grow and evolve as a person.
Being mindful is about being metacognitive about how you interact with yourself, and by extension, how that translates into your interactions with the outer world, like your family, your friends, or your responsibilities like school, work, or more. To be metacognitive simply means thinking about your own thinking about your actions, or thinking about yourself as an individual. Mindfulness is significant because taking time to sit with yourself and reflect on how you are mentally can be refreshing. It allows yourself to pause from the multitude of things your mental state may be experiencing. We have a countless, never-ending stream of thoughts flowing in and out of our brains, which can result in overwhelm, confusion, and then irritation. So being mindful is a way to comprehend or react to these thoughts in a more proactive and positive manner. It can be something simple, like looking up guided meditations online. Body scans or breath exercises can be beneficial in terms of allowing your brain to calmly be metacognitive, because our brains function best when they're in stress-free environments. All of this has the potential to help you define your day on your own terms.
Hello, shifters. My name is Dr. Broderick Sawyer. I'm a clinical psychologist, educator, consultant, as well as a meditation teacher. And I'm going to teach you a very brief mindfulness meditation exercise. And I'm going to teach this to you because mindfulness meditation saved my life. I struggled with mental illness, and mindfulness meditation really helped me in just learning how to feel safe, how to feel present, and how to not worry so much and let my thoughts carry me into darker places. So all we're going to do is find a comfortable position, close our eyes, and begin to take very deep in breaths. So breathe with me. Just all the way in, and then a nice full release of the out breath. Now we're going to keep breathing in this way. So we're going to breathe all the way in. And then breathe all the way out. It's almost like you are inflating your lungs all the way. And then you're deflating your lungs. And then breathe in, and on the neck, you to push all of the air out of your lungs, and also try to relax your shoulders a little bit on the out breath. Relax your jaw muscles. Maybe your eyebrows are crunched. Relax those. Relax your body. And when we breathe out, when we exhale, we're releasing all tension. So we're breathing all the way in. All the way. And that's all we need to do to really practice what it feels like to feel safe. And one little bonus for you. Now what I want you to do is let your breath resume at its natural rhythm. So no more deep breaths. But what I want you to do is allow your thoughts to run without saying anything back to them. So just allow your thoughts. Just move wherever it is you want them to move. Wherever it is they're going, just allow them to move. It's not important what they're saying. What's important is that you are aware. It's almost like your thoughts are clouds in the sky, and your awareness is the sky. The clouds can do whatever they want. They can shift, they can move. And some can be dark, some can be light, but the sky always remains. Just in our last few moments here, I want you to let your thoughts run. Just allow them to run. I want you to see that you don't have to chase your thoughts if you don't want to. Just like sounds come up and they appear, and then they disappear. And we allow our thoughts to run, appear, and they disappear. Let's take one more nice full in breath. And breathe all the way out. And open the eyes. Come back to your surroundings. Any mental illness sufferers, you got this. Stay present. Focus on the day-to-day. I appreciate you all. Signing off.
Did you know there are a lot of apps that help with mental and emotional well-being? Of course you do, because there's an app for everything. Just look at all these well-being apps. Apps that match you with a therapist or a coach for low or reduced cost. Apps that specialize in connecting people with culturally relevant counselors. Apps that have guided meditations, stories, music. Try adding an app or two to your well-being toolbox.
Mental health matters to me because I have friends and family members who have struggled. My mental health has been affected by the global pandemic because isolation is hard on all of us. I'd like to shout out my English teacher, Miss Rosenthal, for sharing her own struggles with my class. It was brave of her and I appreciate it very much.
In 2016, UCLA asked me what would I do if I got to start my own school. So I became a founding faculty member of Geffen Academy at UCLA. And I always joke with people that you don't get to become a mental health advocate because you had this perfect life and then you wanted to tell people about it. I do have my own personal journey with mental health. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder when I was 16. When I was 17 and a senior in high school, I was hospitalized for attempting to take my own life. And at the time, I wasn't on anyone's radar. I was president of my class, a varsity basketball player, had this huge external life that everybody saw, and an internal life that was completely different. The program that we have at Geffen Academy at UCLA is a wellness class for all of our students in grades 6 through 12, where they learn about their mental health the same way they would learn about their physical health. And you can't really talk about mental health if you're not talking about the systems that make people's mental health harder. So we do anti-racism education, we talk about identity, and we talk about all the things that can impact a young person's life.
In high school, everyone is searching for their own identity. So to have lessons geared towards helping students do that and how to do it safely is great.
My growing self-awareness with regard to my mental health has helped me during stressful situations and preventing burnout because I know my own limits and know how to take care of myself.
I know that I can use coping mechanisms to relax. I can use mindfulness to put things into perspective. I can use good stress to be productive.
To have a class that focuses on behaviors that really shape our teenage years, these are also concepts and ideas that will be with us for the rest of our lives.
If you are a student who's really devoted to wellness, you may start balancing your life better with stress. You may start getting better sleep. You might start understanding your identity.
There's a shift that happens going from having a stressful class or having a test to next block. But you shift into the wellness space where you can be open, you have mindfulness in the beginning.
It is also the one period in the week where I feel like I can relax and take a step back from the stressors that schools bring.
Bring, 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 bring. Hello? Oh, it's anxiety calling. I thought you went away. Oh, and you're here to tell me that I have so much to worry about? That there's doom ahead? Well, you know what? I don't have time for you today. So peace.
Hi there. Start here and go up. Sometimes when I'm feeling stressed or I can feel my heart beating a little bit more or I'm feeling tense and I know that I need to take a break, I do something that my 5-year-old daughter in kindergarten taught me, starfish breathing. And it's just a series of 5 breaths. So you start from the bottom and you go up. And it's just deep breaths and it just gives you 5 seconds of pause to reset. Thanks. I know I'm feeling a little better.
That is just amazing. The starfish. I also love the name of it. And I actually too.
I love whoever that kindergarten teacher is that's teaching that, because honestly, it's teaching you to slow down. And what a simple way to access it through your hand is take 5 deep breaths. This is fantastic.
I need that in my life because I don't ever breathe. I just talk. My speech therapist says I need to slow down. So I will be using this. So
remember the starfish. Slow it down, Adrian.
Yes.
Slow it down.
Oh,
yeah, this is a great reminder. I'm going to use that in my life for sure. Oh, no. And that was really cool, seeing how many different ways there are to get started on this wherever you are in your journey. And that's really just the beginning, because the tools and the ways to self-care are not limited. And you guys know because you told us.
Mm-hmm.
When I became an adult, I realized that I really needed to start prioritizing my mental health so that I can be a fun person for myself. I started going to therapy, and it was the best decision I made.
Cognitive behavioral therapy has been interesting for me because I've actually been doing it since I was in 6th grade, dealing with anxiety and different issues.
The practices and mental tools that have helped me, I read and I watch things that are going to motivate me and feel good. I go on walks, I take a breather outside, and I get that vitamin D.
Biggest tool for me is working out. I cannot explain how much working out makes a difference.
I love roller skating, playing with my dog Lana. Sometimes self-care is sleeping in.
If I text my friend and I'm like, just starting a conversation about anything, about their day, about their life, or the weather, just anything to get me out of my head, it's so helpful.
My family and friends help me get past my mental health struggles whenever I have them.
One of the coping mechanisms that I use today is that a fact or a feeling?
When I go on social media, I, first of all, filter out the bad. The things that you see and it makes you feel ill, you don't need to be following it.
Balance is a huge thing. To balance out work and giving back to yourself, giving the time you need to meditate or go on a walk.
Sometimes the way to wellness is through art, whether it's music, a drumming night, art therapy night.
Music is a really, really huge part of my life. Anything involving music helps me feel grounded.
Singing, dancing, playing my piano, performing comedy.
I love to use the arts as a way to engage people in conversations about mental health and making this wellness space a lot more fun and creative than what we were offered when I was growing up.
You know, whatever it is that kind of fuels your soul, different kinds of ways into getting more in touch with ourselves and our true spirits. I think that's maybe the future of advocacy, broadening our perspective on what help looks like, or what health looks like, or what wellness looks like.
Hey LA, I'm excited to rally with you. Hi, I'm Asal. I am a coach, and I am someone who is committed to inspiring you and others from all parts of the world to practice gratitude with me. Why gratitude? Studies have shown that practicing gratitude reduces anxiety. It helps you have a more positive mindset. It increases your self-esteem. It improves your sleep. It improves your connection with other people and your overall outlook on life. What you can expect from taking gratitude on as a first-timer is, there's a lot of things actually. You might get stuck and nothing may come to mind, and that's okay. You may experience some euphoria, like, wow, I didn't think about this point, and I am really grateful. You may experience human connection. You may experience just being in a state of gratitude. It's this happy-go-lucky feeling inside where you're at peace, regardless of what's going on the outside of your life. Some of you may have never done this before, and that's totally okay. Some of you might be asking me, well, what does gratitude even mean? Gratitude means thinking about what it is in your life that you are grateful for, that you're thankful for, when you give thanks to a person or things, or even for yourself. Now, practicing gratitude, there's no right or wrong way of doing it. Remember, You can practice in the morning, you can practice in the afternoon, or you can practice at night. It doesn't matter how long you practice. It could be short as 30 seconds or as long as 10 minutes, whatever feels right for you. Now, before we get into this practice, I think it's best to get centered, to get grounded. And we're gonna do that by taking a couple of deep breaths. So let's inhale through our nose and exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Now, for the next few moments, I want you to think about and possibly write, what are you grateful for about what's in your life and in this moment?
Every day, I like to write down 5 gratitudes. Today, I'm grateful for my girlfriend, Anya, sleeping well last night because sometimes I am an insomniac. And I'm grateful for my family's health. Even though I miss them so much in Canada, they're healthy and well. I'm grateful for all the friends in my life that keep me happy and support me. And I'm grateful for food because I love to eat food. Those are my gratitudes. What about you?
Hello, my name is Ifacho Okeke. I'm a pianist, singer, and certified laughter yoga leader and teacher.
I have never tried laughter yoga. Oh my gosh, is that even a thing?
Laughter yoga is a unique concept where anyone can laugh for a prolonged period of time without comedy, humor, or jokes. The body cannot differentiate between real or fake laughter. Whether I go ha 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 ha, or if I really laugh like ha 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 ha, the body still gets all the wonderful health benefits. It lowers the blood pressure, decreases the stress hormone cortisol, increases your endorphins. You elevate your mood and bring more joy to yourself.
I have to try laughter yoga. I feel like I'm pretty funny, so if I can make myself laugh during yoga, then...
The laughter must be long and prolonged for a good 10-15 minutes, and a good belly laugh from the diaphragm. Ha 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 ha. Number 1, clapping and chanting. The way we clap is finger to finger, which gives you good acupressure points, energizes you. We're gonna chant like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And we're gonna add ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Yay! Now, number 2 is breathing and stretching. So, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and breathe out. Let's get a nice stretch. Stretch arm over. And the other side. 3 is meditation. We like to do meditation towards the end, just to focus you in. We start with a little laugh and becomes bigger. We crack the code for laughter. How do we get more laughter in our lives? Laughter yoga, that's the key.
The message that I have for all you youth out there that are dealing with mental health conditions or want to start the conversation, see the person, not the condition.
Look inward first and ask yourself, what are you needing right now? What does wellness mean to you, and what do you need to reach that image of wellness that you have in your life?
Give yourself grace. What you're going through is real and it is extremely serious.
If you're just starting out on your mental health journey, the one thing I will tell you is to have compassion for yourself. Progress is not a straight line.
It's not going to be the easiest thing, but it's going to be the most rewarding.
Starting the conversation around mental health is not easy, but what I realized was that it creates a ripple effect and it makes those around you want to talk about their mental health.
I think the first step is acknowledging that you need help, reaching out to your friends and family, talking to the people you love, and finding ways to really deal with that internally.
I just think it's so important that people start having that conversation with themselves, hopefully before they hit rock bottom.
Don't wait. Don't wait until your depression, your anxiety, your inability to focus becomes so overwhelming.
That could be the difference between life and death.
Going to the hospital may not be rock bottom. It could just be a check-in or
a stepping stone towards your road to recovery.
It's worth talking about. Starting the conversation is incredibly important. It can be hard, but it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Sometimes it's jarring to go back into other parts of my life where mental health isn't talked about as much. And I hope that in those rooms, someone out there feels less alone by hearing someone talk openly about it.
You will feel better. Just give yourself time and love yourself.
Yes. All right. I know I feel a shift today, and I've definitely learned some things hearing from all these incredible people sharing with us. What did you get out of it, Adrienne?
I mean, me too. Just hearing everyone's stories was incredible. And honestly, I personally like the self-hug. It's a good one.
Self-hug's great. I mean, listen, I know we're talking about serious things, but I use humor to process my emotions. And there's a great thing about the self-hug is from behind. You know what I'm saying? It looks like...
We know what you're saying, Evan.
Okay. All right. Yes. But that was a great reminder. I love the starfish breath as just like a pause. And I definitely appreciated some of the reminders about just being a caring person to yourself, just being more gentle with yourself.
Yeah, that's so important. And it's evident that teens and young adults want mental health, mental well-being. And there are those advocating for it. There are those being advocated for. And we all want to break, past these challenges that we see on multiple levels. So it was really awesome.
Yeah. Let's check in with the shift that we hope occurred today.
Yes.
Let's see. Which approach will you be trying next? I see up on the screen. Self-care tips. That went up from our first ask of what people are using.
It's true.
Free resources. Love that. Exercise and mindfulness. Yes, guys, that is foundational steps to your well-being. Peer groups.
Advice. All right.
Cool. Yeah, this is great. And apps, some of those apps sounded amazing. The one about language, I think is so important because it's hard to navigate this. It's hard to label it. Sometimes you don't know what you're feeling. And I'm definitely going to try out that app that helps you create a vocabulary for your emotions.
I was thinking that it's so cool that there really are like apps for everything and that we can access things from our phones. Really love that. I'm definitely going to try that. Looks like they took your exercise advice, Devin, too.
Yes. Exercise and mindfulness. It's a great foundational tools, man.
I think the most important thing to remember, too, is just like supporting our mental health really can start with a small step, right? It's not, you don't have to, my favorite quote that I always like to use is you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. So it really can just start with a small step, and everyone's steps look different. So you can try different things out.
I love that. Everybody's path, right? From your first step to your 50th step. Yeah. Everybody's individual journey looks different, but what's important is that you're on it, that you're taking those steps into caring for yourself, into taking care of yourself, into growing, into integrating yourself. So be sure to journey over to our partner resource page to connect with some of the tools and programs that we featured today.
Mm-hmm. You can also take steps to get involved for yourself with NAMI Westside LA's month-long events for Mental Health Awareness Month. You can learn all about that on our site or at namila.org.
Yes, including events with artist X Ari, who we heard from a few times in the show, who's incredible. Those events are going to be really fun.
Yes, X Ari, put this on your calendar. She and the good people at NAMI Westside LA will also be part of MTV's inaugural Mental Health Action Day on May 20th, which we can all take part of as a global community, which is awesome.
That's right. And there are dates all through the month and beyond where you can use your voice from Capitol Hill to the classroom.
Oh, yeah. And for a treat to yourself, visit us for a few special well-being product offers for shifters like you and me from some of our sponsors.
Yes, this has been fantastic. We've heard from great people. We've opened up this conversation with ourselves. I think that's the most important thing, is normalizing conversations like this around taking care of ourselves and each other. So we're sending a big thank you to NAMI Westside LA, the NAMI family, the Mental Health Services Oversight Accountability Commission, and all the presenters and partner organizations. To all of you who submitted and shared your voice here, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Even with the anonymous polls, like, thank you for being brave and sharing with us your journey. It's really awesome. And also, you can join NAMI's listening session, which is immediately following the show here. You'll see the link to join below. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for starting this conversation with us and rallying around your mental health and the mental health of those around you. It's so important. Thank you so much. Be sure to join us for another wellness rally in Chicago on May 15th. And until then, you guys, stay safe and stay shifted.
Keep shifting, babies.
Yes. Yay. Thank you guys so much.
The future of mental health advocacy is in very good hands with these students today.
I can feel all of the mental health advocates on this call who are so willing to have this conversation and normalize mental health.
If we just keep the conversation going, we'll be able to keep that momentum.
There are so many resources waiting for you, like peer support groups offered by NAMI.
Online therapy, getting online prescriptions, being able to talk to your doctor online.
Building collective vision with your fellow community members to think of ways that you can achieve wellness together.
I hope this reminds young people of how important their voices are.
That you can have a life worth living, that you deserve, that you can be in your family, contribute to the people you love, and just be out in the world and make a difference in the world. And that's a beautiful thing.
We all have a unique perspective and a story to tell.
Be a voice that defines wellness and pushes and advocates for our needs in the community.
Because at the end of the day, like RuPaul says, you can't expect anyone to love you unless you love yourself first.
I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. I love you. You are heard. You are acknowledged. This is me starting the conversation, stopping the stigma, and feeling the shift.